Heartwarming reunion, millionaire discovers unexpected twins at airport revealed to be his. John Harper sped through the bustling Chicago airport, suitcases whizzing by, travelers rushing off in every direction. Fog hung heavy outside, but inside, life pulsed with energy. A self-made millionaire, he was the proud CEO of a groundbreaking tech startup adored by investors, feared by competitors. Yet, amidst the chaos, his heart was a cyclone of disconnection, lonely in the crowd. He had chased the American dream so aggressively, he had forgotten the warmth of family, the touch of love. Zipping past, he hardly noticed the world around him until a sudden crash. He stumbled, nearly tripping over two scrappy, spirited twins wrestling with a stuffed bear. They burst into laughter, their innocence an unexpected burst of joy in his monochrome world. Ella, with her curly hair and bright smile, quickly bounced back and offered her brother a hand. Noah, loyal and protective, grinned at her. Their playful antics kicked at the corners of John's detachment, stirring feelings he'd buried long ago. John knelt down, helping them search for their father who had wandered off. "What's your dad's name?" he asked, a genuine curiosity clawing at him. "Danny," Ella chimed, her eyes sparkling with mischief. "He's always losing stuff." The moment sparked something deep within him, like a flicker of nostalgia, a warm light breaking through a foggy sky. As he walked with them, listening to their little tales of fort building and snack bar adventures, he caught a glimpse of life that felt real. Their laughter echoed the simplicity he had left behind. John's hands tugged at his expensive suit, suddenly feeling too heavy on his shoulders. For the first time in years, he felt a pang of guilt, a sudden realization that family was the missing piece of his grand success story. Just then, out came a name from the past, a familiar voice that made his heart drop. Their mother. The very woman he thought he had left behind when he sought riches. The anger in her eyes felt like a slap. "John Harper. Do you even realize what you've done? You left us behind." She was fierce, unapologetic, and utterly captivating. As he stood frozen, the twins beamed up at him, unaware of the tempest swirling above their heads. John felt two worlds colliding, the lavish lifestyle of opulence and the rawness of a family he had choices to make. "Before we continue, I need to let you know about something important that's happening. YouTube has been making changes to the system and many people are losing notifications from channels they follow. If you're enjoying the content, hit that bell and mark all notifications so you don't miss the next videos. And if you can drop a like, it really helps me with reach. Seriously, it makes a difference. Oh, let me know in the comments where you're watching from. I'm always curious to know who's on the other side of the screen. Now let's continue. The next step felt monumental. A DNA test, a little slip of paper that had started this unraveling. For weeks, he had ignored its significance until now, right in this airport, looking into Ella and Noah's bright eyes. All at once, he learned they were his children. His own flesh and blood. The tears threatened to spill as the truth crashed down around him. Now, he stood at a precipice. Could he embrace the messy reality of being a father? The bond he had shunned for success was standing right in front of him. His heart raced as the voices around them faded into background noise. This was a moment of reckoning. The question loomed large over him. Would he allow fear and guilt to hold him prisoner, or would he finally step forward and claim his place as their father? As they gathered at the vibrant community event that celebrated family and unity, John's heart pounded with uncertainty. Would he truly change his life and take a leap toward authenticity, or would he remain shackled to the past? John felt the weight of his mother's gaze, heavy with disappointment and anger. Each word hung in the air like a haunting melody. The bustling airport dimmed around him, and for a moment, it was just him and the glaring truth that churned within. He had spent so long trying to escape the past, yet here it was, crashing into him like a wave he couldn't outrun. Ella and Noah, innocent as ever, giggled, oblivious to the storm. Their laughter, so pure and unfiltered, was a sharp contrast to the ache swelling in his chest. "Can we find Dad now?" Noah asked, tugging at John's pant leg with those wide, trusting eyes. The request was simple, yet laden with significance. John glanced at his mother, who stood with her arms crossed, waiting for his response. "Sure, we'll find him," he said, forcing a smile. But the smile felt foreign on his face. The twins beamed back at him, bright and glimmering with hope, as if he were already the father they deserved. They navigated the throng of travelers, John's heart racing with each step. What would he tell them when they found their dad? Would he admit to them that he was terrified? That being a father felt like standing on a tightrope. "Tell me more about Danny," he urged, trying to peel apart the layers of his own anxiety. Ella launched into a tale about their dad's affinity for silly hats, while Noah chimed in with how Danny had painted their bedroom blue, like the sky. Each word painted a vivid picture in John's mind, a family he had never known. Just then, he caught sight of a man in a bright yellow cap waving frantically not far away. John's heart skipped a beat. "There he is," he announced, his voice laced with determination. As they made their way over, a strange tugging felt like an anchor in his chest, tethering him to a truth he feared facing. Danny was tall and friendly, wrapping the twins in a bear hug as he noticed them. "You too. I was worried. Where did you run off to?" His radiant smile only amplified John's own insecurities. Would he ever measure up to this man, this father standing in front of him? "Dad, this is John," Ella chirped, letting the name slip from her tongue like it was the most natural thing in the world. John's breath caught. Did they really see him as their father? The thought sent chills down his spine. This wasn't just a casual meeting, it was the beginning of something that could forever alter their lives. Danny's eyes landed on John, and John braced himself for judgment. Instead, Danny extended a hand, grinning wide. "Great to meet you. You must be a good guy if you've got a taste for adventure." John shook his hand, feeling warmth seeping into the icy walls he'd built. I'm trying," he stammered, feeling a mixture of hope and fear dance within him. The small talk that ensued felt surreal as John watched the twins cling to Danny, their laughter ringing out, pure and unrestricted. In that moment, he felt the tug of family and undeniable connection trying to pull him back home, but as Danny and the twins began to walk away, John stood rooted to the spot, his heart racing. He had to make a choice. Would he follow them into this new, uncharted territory of fatherhood and familial love, or would he turn back to the life he'd created in solitude? His breath hitched in his throat. John took a step forward, the gravel crunching beneath his polished shoes. "Wait!" he called out, each syllable a note of desperation and hope. Their laughter ceased, the air thick with anticipation. Can I join you?" Both Danny and the twins turned. Their expressions were a mix of surprise and curiosity. But before their response could echo in the air, John felt a flicker of warmth blossom in his chest. Maybe, just maybe, this was the moment everything changed. Would he embrace this chance for connection, or would he allow doubt to cloud the path ahead? With every nerve in his body awake, he waited to discover what the next chapter would hold. John stood there, the weight of their surprised faces almost overwhelming him. Time seemed to stretch, each heartbeat echoing in his ears. Ella's eyes sparkled with curiosity, while Noah tilted his head, waiting for their father's response. Danny's expression shifted from surprise to something warmer, a flicker of understanding passing between them. "Of course, buddy," Danny replied, his grin returning. "We'd love to have you with us." The relief that washed over John was palpable. He quickly shoved aside the worry that accompanied this new chapter. If Danny was accepting, perhaps it meant John could fit in, too. With a shaky breath, he stepped forward, eager to bridge the distance that had felt so daunting moments before. As they walked, the crowd around them buzzed with excitement, travelers milling about, focused on their own reunions. But this was different, it was a collision of lives. John felt a wave of gratitude towards Danny, a man willing to share this space, this moment. "So, what's the plan?" John asked, trying to sound casual as they moved through the airport. Danny glanced back, his hands resting lightly on the twins' shoulders. "We were thinking of heading straight to the park for a little picnic. Ella and Noah love it there. Plus, I packed their favorite sandwiches. Noah chimed in, and chips. The good kind. John couldn't help but chuckle at Noah's earnest enthusiasm. This connection was new, yet it felt warm, like the sun breaking through a gray sky. Still, he couldn't ignore the swirl of emotions inside him, a mix of excitement and the nagging thread of fear. Any cool games you like to play at the park? John asked, trying to engage more with the twins. Ella perked up immediately. We love playing tag. And we build forts from the blankets too. The joy in Ella's voice was infectious. As they exited the airport, John felt his shoulders drop slightly. The chill of the terminal melted away, replaced by the warmth of the sun. Outside, they crossed the open expanse, and suddenly John felt like he was walking towards more than just a picnic. It was a chance at family, something he thought was forever closed off to him, yet, in the back of his mind, doubts loomed. Would he really know how to be a dad? Could he live up to the ideal that Danny projected so effortlessly? Hey, John, Danny's friendly voice cut through his spiraling thoughts. You okay? John nodded, forcing his lips into a smile. Yeah, just, taking it all in. Danny chuckled, a light sound that reminded John of every casual family gathering he had missed, every laugh that had skipped over him in his solitary years. I get it. It can be a bit overwhelming at first. But we're all just here to have fun. Fun. The word echoed in John's mind. Could he really allow himself to have fun? To really belong? They reached the park, a lively place with families scattered across the green expanse, the laughter of children mingling with the breeze. Feeling the excitement in the air, John watched as the twins bolted ahead, so full of life, while a nagging question lingered in his thoughts: what if he couldn't be what they needed? Hey! Danny's call pulled him from his reverie. Come on, John. Catch up. With each step, John felt a little less burdened. Maybe this was the beginning, a chance to rewrite his story. As he began picking up his pace, laughter from the twins echoed behind him, a melody steeped in innocence and hope. But just as he was about to join them, he froze. A familiar figure walked past him, shadowed under the sunlight, a ghost from his past. His heart raced. John felt a shiver of recognition, a voice inside him whispering that this was anything but over. What did this encounter mean for everything he was trying to build? John's breath caught in his throat, each pulse in his chest drumming louder as he squinted against the sunlight. There, walking with a casual confidence, was Barry, his former partner, the one person who had known all his secrets, all his failings. Their paths had diverged years ago, but the sight of him now sent a rush of feelings crashing into John like a tidal wave. John! Danny's cheerful voice called, but it felt like it belonged to another world, distant and muffled. John couldn't take his eyes off Barry. Did he recognize him, too? Barry slowed down, his gaze flicking over the scene, only pausing when it landed on John. For a moment, everything fell away, the laughter, the bright colors of the park, even the twins skipping joyfully. Just the two of them stood there, suspended in time. John! Barry said, a mixture of surprise and confusion coloring his voice. Barry, the name slipped past John's lips, heavy with years of unspoken words. Memories crowded in, both joyful and painful. It felt surreal, standing here as a different person, a father with a chance at belonging, while facing someone who was once at the center of his world. Looks like you've been busy, Barry remarked, glancing at the twins, who were still oblivious to the storm brewing around them. Yeah, these two are my. John started, but his voice faltered. The weight of those words tangled in his mind. Should he announce it? Share this new identity right here, in front of a past he had tried so hard to escape? We're having a picnic. Noah shouted, darting back towards John with a chip in hand. Ella followed, almost bouncing on her feet, unaware of the monumental shifts taking place just inches away. Hey, buddy, John managed, bending slightly to ruffle Noah's hair, grounding himself in the present. Escaping between their happy smiles was easier than facing the storm brewing under Barry's gaze. Barry's eyebrows shot up. Twins? Ella beamed, ever the one to seize the moment. Yeah. I'm Ella, and this is my brother, Noah. How sweet, Barry replied, though his voice remained tinged with something heavier. Danny reappeared, an oblivious smile on his face. Oh, John. You met Barry? He's an old friend of mine from years ago. Yeah, we didn't quite leave things on great terms, John mumbled, feeling the color rise in his cheeks. The past had a way of creeping back, embedding itself into moments when least expected. Barry stepped closer, his expression shifting from surprise to something softer, perhaps even genuine concern. I didn't know you were back in town. How have you been? The question hung between them, alive with unspoken truths. Did Barry want to know how John had crawled out from his dark place? Or was it just a polite inquiry, a passing comment meant to smooth over the strange tension? John felt cornered, not just by the sight of Barry but by the new world he was trying to step into. Good. Really good, John finally said, forcing strength into his voice as he glanced back at the twins. I'm with them now. Barry noticed the way John's gaze lingered on the children, a father's love unmistakable in his eyes. That's great. They're lucky. Yeah, well, it's a work in progress, John replied, a small layer of uncertainty creeping back in as he grappled with how little he truly knew about being a father. Before the conversation could spiral any deeper, Danny clapped his hands together. Come join us for our picnic. It'll be a great time, I promise. John's heart raced. Could he invite Barry into this moment he so desperately wanted to protect? But as he glanced around, he saw the smiling faces of Ella and Noah beaming up at him with hope and trust. With a deep breath, he faced Barry one last time. You know what? Maybe, that could be fun. As the three of them walked towards the picnic area, John felt a tug in his chest. The past never truly vanished, it always threatened to reappear when least expected. He felt the weight of it beside him, lurking, even as his heart raced toward an uncertain future. What would Barry's presence mean for his newfound life? Was this a reunion or a reckoning that might unravel everything he was trying to build? The blanket was spread out, a colorful patchwork among the green grass. As they settled in, John felt the weight of Barry's presence beside him. It was strange, sharing this moment with someone so tied to a life he had left behind. The laughter of the twins filled the air, a sweet melody that contrasted sharply with the pounding in his chest. Noah, can you pass me the sandwiches? Danny asked, his cheerful tone breaking through John's thoughts. The twins scrambled, their small fingers reaching for the bright basket, oblivious to the tension that simmered a few feet away. John, do you remember the last time we were here? Barry suddenly said, a soft smile playing at the corners of his mouth. John forced a chuckle. Yeah, I think it involved a very embarrassing game of frisbee. He could still see Barry's face as he missed the throw and ended up tumbling onto the grass. Suddenly, the teasing laughter of their friends rang in his ears, a moment of camaraderie he thought long forgotten. Barry laughed too, a sound that relaxed John's shoulders, if only for a moment. You always were the athletic one, Barry teased gently. Sure, if tripping over my own feet counts as athletic, John quipped back, forcing a lighter atmosphere. He looked over at Ella and Noah. Their laughter, so pure and innocent, reminded him of better days, and he couldn't help but smile. But something beneath the surface lingered, a cool uncertainty. He noticed the flickers of emotion dancing across Barry's face as if they were old ghosts. John wondered what memories haunted him. Were there regrets shared? Was there anger he hadn't acknowledged? The twins moved closer to Barry, curious about his stories. Mr. Barry, did you know our dad when you were a kid? Noah chirped, tilting his head. John winced at the question. Yeah, we were best friends once, Barry answered, his voice softening as he looked at John. You could say we were like brothers. John swallowed hard. The weight of those words felt heavy with regret. How many chances had they let slip through their fingers because of unresolved issues? Hey! Danny interrupted with a grin, let's not dwell on the past. Who's up for sandwich tasting contest? He held up a couple of mismatched sandwiches, clearly concocted by the kids. That sounds like a terrible idea, John said, laughing. Especially if the kids made them. Sure, but just imagine the joy on their faces when we declare them the best. Danny winked, attempting to lift the mood. John couldn't help but appreciate Danny's optimism. It was contagious, and he found himself relaxing, if only a little. He watched as the twins engaged Barry, their excitement simple but profound. They were bridging a gap he thought was too wide to cross. Are you coming back for good? Barry's voice broke John's distraction. The question hung heavier than the rest, layered with cautious hope. I don't know, John replied honestly, feeling the impact of the moment. I want to, but things are complicated. Barry studied him, searching for something in his eyes. Well, if the twins are any indication, I think you're doing okay. John felt a rush of warmth at Barry's words. Could they rebuild some form of friendship here, despite everything that once tore them apart? Let us just take it one step at a time, right? He suggested, attempting to rewind their tangled past for a fresh start, yet, in the depths of his heart, John couldn't shake off the lingering doubt. With every laugh and smile exchanged, a new thread of connection was formed. But would it be strong enough to hold, or would it snap under the pressure of their history? John glanced at the smiling faces around him, but somewhere deep down, the thought pierced through: what if the past they shared came rushing back to threaten this fragile new beginning? The moment became electric, alive with possibilities, as something deeper was bound to surface. There was a truth hiding behind every cheerful exchange. Could they navigate the uncharted waters of regret and forgiveness, and what would it mean for the twins, who had suddenly become the center of John's world? The laughter of the twins rang out again, bright and pure, pulling John from his reverie. He remembered how easy it had once been to forget the weight of the past. But now, he felt the heaviness linger, a constant companion. As he watched Noah and Ella playfully argue over who would take the first bite of their mismatched sandwiches, John felt a bittersweet pang. Tell us another story about Dad. Ella exclaimed, her eyes wide with anticipation. Barry shifted uneasily, glancing at John. Well, there was that one time. His voice trailed off. The past was like a tangle of yarn. Pull one thread, and the whole thing might come unraveled. Yeah. What about it? Noah pressed, eager for tales of heroic feats and friendships. Well, we sure did get ourselves into trouble, Barry chuckled nervously, searching for a safe memory. Like that camping trip. John felt the mood dip slightly as the focus shifted. The memory of sunburned necks, misplaced marshmallows, and laughter suddenly flooded back, moments tinged with longing. He remembered how simple times were, free of complications. But then the shadows came creeping in. Did you go to the river? Ella asked, her voice innocent yet layered with unspoken questions. Yes, we did, Barry replied, his eyes flicking toward John before returning to the twins. And we may or may not have lost the canoe. No. Noah gasped, causing the adults to laugh. The twins leaned closer, hanging on to every word. The laughter wrapped around John like a warm blanket, easing the worry in his gut. Yet, he couldn't shake the feeling that Barry had held back. You always told the best stories, John finally said, leaning in, wanting to light up the atmosphere but also searching for deeper truths. Barry smiled, but the moment of levity felt fragile. I just hope we created enough good memories to overshadow, well, you know. The unspoken words hung in the air, heavy and charged. John shifted, looking away, focusing on the twins. How could he reconcile the past with his desire for a future? As long as you're here now, Barry said quietly, I hope we can start fresh. For their sake. A wave of vulnerability washed over John, mingled with hope. The twins deserved the best from him. He glanced at them, blissfully unaware of the emotional storm brewing around them. Yeah, for their sake. And ours too, maybe. This tiny admission felt like a bridge, fragile but reaching across the emptiness. Suddenly, he wanted to believe that healing was possible. Noah chimed in, "Does that mean we can all hang out more? You and Mr. Barry?" He was all smiles, eyes shining with innocence. "Of course," Barry replied, his sincerity unmasked. The children erupted into cheers, their giggles a joyful noise that blasted through the tension. Watching them connect, John felt hope flicker. But just as quickly, a thought struck him: could they truly forget the years of silence and hurt? "Let's make another plan, a proper trip this time," Danny proposed. His enthusiasm was infectious, drawing in the twins. John caught Barry's eye, and for a moment, there was mutual understanding. Was this really a new beginning or merely a band-aid on old wounds? The blankets rustled as they packed up the remaining crumbs, ideas dancing between them. Laughter intertwined with apprehension. Words spoken now felt crucial, as if they were mapping out a future while standing on a shifting foundation, but as they gathered their things, the question loomed larger. What lay ahead? Was this renewed friendship destined to flourish, or was it all an illusion, a brief escape from the shadows? John's heart raced as he thought of everything left unsaid, their history looming behind them like a storm cloud. There was much left to uncover. "Let us move forward, shall we?" John finally suggested, trying to chase away the doubt lingering in the corners of his mind, but even as he spoke, part of him wondered if the past would rise again to haunt them. Would they become paralyzed by their own memories? As they walked away from the blanket, the laughter of the twins overshadowed his worry, leaving behind a sliver of hope. Yet, doubt lurked just below the surface: would they truly embrace the future without being haunted by what had been? And in John's heart, a new question took shape: could he find the courage to face it all, even if it meant stumbling through the pain of the past? The sun hung low in the sky, painting the horizon in shades of orange and pink as John and Barry walked alongside the twins. Laughter still echoed in the air like a sweet melody, but with each joyful squeal, John felt the shadows creeping back around him. The blanket was finally rolled up, packed away, but the weight of unspoken words lingered heavily in his heart. "Are we really going to go on another trip?" Noah asked, his enthusiasm palpable. It was infectious, and for a moment, John felt himself caught in the web of the twins' innocent excitement. "Yeah. A real camping trip," Ella added, her hands clapping together. John forced a smile. "Of course, we will," he replied, but his mind was racing. How could he promise them something so grand when he felt the past twisting around him? Barry grinned, although there was something else behind it, emotion balanced precariously at the edge of his eyes. "We can make it happen, right? It's been too long since we all shared an adventure," he said, though John wondered if Barry felt the hesitation too. As they neared the end of the park, the chatter of the children faded into the background. John glanced at Barry, who had fallen silent. 1,000 questions hovered in the air, asking for the courage to break through the unspoken barriers that still stood between them. "Barry," John began, but the words stuttered in the space between them. I know we can't just erase everything," Barry said, his voice low but steady. "But maybe we can talk about it." "What happened?" I mean, the twins whirled away, completely unaware as they raced ahead. Fresh laughter drifted back to them like a breeze. "We can't keep ignoring it," John replied, feeling his resolve strengthen. The past prowled in the shadows, but he felt the need to confront it now. "I want us to move forward, but I need to understand what went wrong." Barry nodded slowly, and for a brief moment, they locked eyes. There was pain there, a shared weight that neither one could deny any longer. "We've all been hurt, John. It wasn't just you. It was all of us." John pursed his lips in thought. The guilt, the anger, the heartache, it wrapped around him like ivy. "But it was different for you. You didn't lose everything like I did." "What I lost wasn't tangible," Barry remarked quietly. "Emotions can be just as heavy as lost dreams. We need to talk. But I understand if talking about our past is hard." He inhaled gently. maybe we just start with the twins. For them, we have to try to be better. Yes, John felt the agreement resonate in his chest. They needed to do this for the children. To give them something more than just scattered memories. As the afternoon light waned, casting shadows that stretched across the grass, the twins called them back. Come on, guys. Race you to the slide. Their carefree shouts beckoned like a siren song. They ran together toward the equipment, smiles stretching across their faces. In that moment of movement and vitality, John couldn't help but feel a flicker of joy flare to life. But contemplation lingered in the back of his mind. Could a simple race towards a playground really mask the deeper, more complex race against their past? Watching the twins bound forward, John took a deep breath. He had to believe that change was possible. That it was tangible, just like the laughter surrounding him. But as they neared the slide, John's heart fluttered with uncertainty. They needed to be brave, not just for themselves but for the kids. But how deep would their journey through the past take them? He opened his mouth to say something, anything, but the moment was lost. Behind them, the sun dipped lower, and shadows lengthened across the park, leaving John with a nagging question. Was he ready to face what the truth might unveil? As they joined the twins, a new challenge emerged. Would they find a way to heal, or would the scars of yesterday hold them back once and for all? The laughter from the twins filled the air as they reached the slide, the last golden rays of the sun illuminating their playful forms. John watched them launch themselves onto the slide, their squeals of delight cutting through the haze of his thoughts. For a moment, he allowed himself to get lost in their joy, letting it wash over him like a warm tide, but as the children giggled and tumbled, the laughter felt distant, overshadowed by the weight of the conversation that loomed. He could see Barry standing a few feet away, watching with a soft gaze that betrayed a mix of pride and sorrow. Hey, look at us! Noah called out, his little arms flailing as he tried to climb back up the slide. Come on, Ella! Race you to the top again! Ella shouted, determination etched across her face. We really should do this more often, Barry said quietly, stepping beside John. Just be together. It feels good, doesn't it? Yeah, John replied, forcing a lightness into his tone. It does. But the relief was short-lived. As the twins played on, doubts danced in the back of John's mind. Could they really build something new, something more, based on the ruins of their shared past? There was too much history. Too much hurt. Barry, do you think they know? John whispered, glancing at the twins. They were oblivious to the weighty conversation surrounding them, consumed by the simple joys of childhood. Know what? Barry asked, his brow furrowing slightly. About us. Our past. Do they sense it? Barry hesitated, his gaze shifting to the ground as he considered. Kids are perceptive. They might feel the tension, but as long as we're here for them, they'll be okay. Isn't that what matters right now? John wanted to agree, desperately. The thought of the twins growing up in a fractured environment made his heart ache. You're right. They deserve to be happy. They really do. Noah came sprinting back, cheeks flushed and eyes sparkling with excitement. Can we have ice cream after this? He asked, jumping up and down. Absolutely. John replied, smiling genuinely. The simple joy of that moment was uplifting. With that, John motioned to Ella, who was still climbing the slide. How about a race to see who can finish their ice cream first? Me! She shouted, her voice ringing with confidence, squeaking through a laugh. Just then, a hush fell over the park as the sun touched the horizon. The last remnants of the day's light painted the sky in deeper hues, and something shifted within John. Maybe, just maybe, they had a chance. As they settled into a routine of laughter and small victories, John felt a sliver of hope. He watched Barry interact with the twins, seeing him involved and animated, the shadows of the past loosening their grip if only slightly. Yet, just as her voice brought John to a warm smile, Ella's eyes met his, a flicker of wisdom beyond her years sparking within. "Uncle John, you and Barry will be the best daddies ever," she chirped, a glimmer of innocence and affection entwined in her words. The smile faded from John's face, replaced with something deeper, joy mingled with fear. "Maybe one day, huh?" he managed to say, the possibility of an unknown future hanging in the air between them, but Barry's eyes widened slightly, a sudden thought dawning, there's something unspoken, something raw. "You think?" he said, almost more to himself than to John. The laughter of the twins rang out again, but John felt the gravity of that question. What would it take to reach that kind of future? Would they be able to navigate the paths ahead without succumbing to the clutches of yesterday? Suddenly, the comforting laughter turned haunting, echoing in his mind. As they drifted toward the ice cream stand, John's heart hammered against his chest. Could he allow himself to dream again? Just as doubt began to creep back, a familiar face crossed his line of sight at the mouth of the park. Someone from the past was approaching, someone who could change everything. "John." The voice called. He turned, heart racing, already wondering how this unexpected encounter would unfold. John squinted against the fading light, his heart stopping as he recognized the figure approaching him. It was Amanda, a blast from his past, someone he never expected to see here, of all places. Her hair swayed gently in the evening breeze, and for a moment, all he could hear was the pounding of his own heart. "John!" she called again, and he noticed the faint tremor in her voice. "Hi, Amanda," he replied, struggling to keep his voice steady. Memories hit him like waves, both warm and sharp. There had been laughter and love once, but that felt like another lifetime. The twins came racing past him, their joyous giggles breaking the tension. Noah, with his ice cream smeared across his cheeks, waved at her, while Ella balanced a cone in both hands, oblivious to the silence that had befallen John. "Are these?" Amanda's eyes flickered between John and the children, a spark of confusion mingling with surprise. Yes." "Noah and Ella," John managed, unsure how much to share. He felt Barry step in closer, a steady presence beside him. "They're my sister's kids, but I'm helping out. We're all kind of together now." "Together?" Amanda echoed, some warmth returning to her expression. "That's wonderful. I never imagined you'd become a father." There was something so damning about the word that made John flinch. Father. The roles felt too heavy. He glanced at Barry, who was visibly tense, his smile fixed, but not entirely genuine. "Well, not exactly," John started, but Amanda interrupted. "I'm really happy for you, John. I always knew you'd be great with kids." "Thanks," he replied, his thoughts spiraling. Part of him wanted to share everything, his struggles, desires, the way Barry had stepped back into his life, but the words felt locked up inside him. "Can we have a picture?" Noah piped up, breaking the serious undertones. He jumped in front of them, widening his eyes in excitement. "With you too, Barry." Barry arched an eyebrow, turning to John. "Do you mind?" John felt a strange mix of emotions as the twins huddled around Amanda with their ice creams, grinning up at her. She crouched down to their level, her laughter blending with theirs. But even as he observed them, a knot twisted in his stomach. Would Amanda truly be happy for him? Would she just see the fairy tale he sometimes wished he was living, the one where everything was perfect? "Cheese!" Ella shouted, and they all smiled wide as Amanda captured the moment on her phone. "Those are adorable." She beamed, straightening up. "You have such a wonderful family." Something flickered in Barry's eyes, a hint of a frown forming at the edge of his mouth as he glanced at John. John's breath caught, he sensed the tension between them tightening like a noose. "Well, it's complicated," John replied, feeling exposed. He had never been good at pretenses, especially not with someone who knew him so well. At that moment, Amanda shifted and looked directly at him. "Is everything okay? You seem different." John's heart raced. Different. She didn't recognize the man he had become. Before he could respond, he felt the air thicken. A ripple of uncertainty passed through him. Just what had he gotten himself into? Suddenly, the shadows stretched long with the fading sun, making the air between them electric. Barry's hand brushed against his, searching for an unspoken connection. Could he really share this new part of his life with Amanda? Would it change everything? As John's mind reeled, Amanda laughed again, pulling everyone back to the light. "Let us get ice cream," she declared, her enthusiasm infectious. But the underlying questions lingered. "Would you want to join us?" John blurted out, unsure if it was the right move. I'd love that," Amanda said, her eyes bright but shy, as if sensing the delicate balance of their reunion. As they walked together, uncertainty holding hands with hope, John glanced at Barry. They both realized this moment was a turn, a crossroads of what was to come. But just then, as they approached the ice cream stand, John's phone buzzed frantically in his pocket. A message flashing on the screen. One that could unravel everything he thought he knew. Wait, he paused, glancing down at the notification, dread pooling in his stomach. What had he just stepped into? And even more haunting, would Barry still be there when the dust settled? John stood frozen as the reality of the message on his phone hit him like a freight train. Was it really happening? The weight of the world seemed to settle on his shoulders, and he felt the tension in the air shift as Barry's concerned gaze met his. Noah and Ella were still animatedly discussing their ice cream flavors, blissfully unaware of the emotional storm brewing just beyond their colorful cones. With a shaky hand, he took the phone out of his pocket, the bright screen glowing like a warning beacon. A text from his business partner flashed. "John, we need you back in the office. Things are falling apart fast." The words were a stark reminder of the life he had arrived in Chicago to escape. In that moment, voltage crackled in the air. Could he really go back to that world, especially after everything he had just found? He felt Barry's presence solidify beside him, a grounding weight amidst the chaos within. "What's wrong?" Barry asked, his brow furrowed in concern as both twins turned to stare. John's heart raced. This was about more than work. It was about facing the life he'd chosen to leave behind, or at least hoped to leave behind. I just got a message about work," he admitted, his voice faltering, vulnerable against the backdrop of laughter and joy still swimming around them. "They're saying that without me, everything's crashing down." Ella and Noah, still buzzing on their ice creams, exchanged curious glances. Barry spoke next, his tone steady. "And what does that mean for us? For this new life you're trying to build?" The question cut deep. John looked at his children. Each smile shared between the twins felt like a silent promise, a bond forming, fragile yet powerful. It was all too easy to slip back into a ruthless world of deadlines and expectations, the one that had cost him so much. But here, standing beside Barry, and watching the exuberance of the twins, he knew what was truly at stake. "I can't go back to that, not now. Not when I finally feel like I'm on the right path," he whispered, and a sense of resolve filled him. John turned from the screen to see Amanda watching him with an understanding look. "We all have choices to make, John. You don't have to do this alone." Her words struck him. Memories of past years flooded in the loneliness, the silo of success and ambition. Could he possibly choose family over a career that once consumed him? He glanced again at Barry, searching for signs of uncertainty or fear. Instead, he saw the man who had stepped boldly into this new chapter of John's life, ready to embrace connections not just with the twins, but also with him. "Hey! Ice cream time!" Noah shouted, pulling everybody back to the moment. The tension slipped slightly as Amanda joined in with their excitement, embracing the twins with an energy that felt like life itself. John felt the warmth in his chest glow. This was what mattered: the connections, the laughter, the chance to make memories that weren't tainted by his past choices. He looked at Barry again. Perhaps they could face his past together, could take control of their futures with intention. "Let us get ice cream," he said with a grin, feeling lighter. Together, they made their way to the stand, filling the air with laughter and chatter. As they waited in line, Noah and Ella chattered about their favorite flavors, speculating about what epic adventures they could go on next. John couldn't help but soak in the innocence, the joy wrapping around him like a comforting blanket. He could be a father. He could cherish these moments and learn how to be present. After choosing flavors, they settled into a small group, digging into their sweet treats. Flavors spilled down fingers and laughter echoed, the simple pleasure of a shared moment rippling outward. John turned his thoughts inward, realizing he wasn't just learning about being a father, but also facing the footsteps of his own history, the path he was carving. As they delved deeper into relationships and knew that a sense of belonging was finally within reach. Whatever came next, work demands, past confrontations, or unforeseen changes, he felt rooted by the love blooming beside him. And it was then, while watching Ella and Noah argue lightheartedly over the better flavor, he took a breath and made a decision. Tonight, he wouldn't dwell on the text or the worries it brought. Instead, he would welcome the laughter of children and the shared magic of friendship. "Hey guys," he said, his heart brimming with hope. "What do you say we pick a date for our camping trip? The four of us, plus Amanda and Barry." The excitement on their faces sent a thrill through him. "Yes!" the twins shouted in unison, their eyes bright with dreams of tents, stars, and adventure. In a whirlwind of laughter, John felt something lift off his chest, like a heavy cloud giving way to a bright dawn. He might have a chaotic story behind him, but he was finally ready to embrace the present with all its challenges and all its beauty. Together, they would chart their course out of the shadows and into the light. As they walked toward the parking lot with ice cream in hand and dreams swirling in the air, he felt the sun linger low in the horizon, casting long shadows but illuminating the way forward. With every step they took, John realized that despite the complications of life, family would be his anchor, his compass, guiding him toward uncharted territories filled with possibility. And this journey had just begun. Now it's your turn. If this story touched your heart or made you feel something real, listen closely. You need to subscribe now to our channel so you won't miss the next exclusive stories that will inspire you. Leave a like right now to feed the algorithm and keep us going. Your support truly matters. Don't wait not even one more second to share this video with at least 5 friends who need to see this transformation. Let us spread hope and kindness together. We're counting on you. Your voice is part of this journey. Let us make a difference.